Hey, it's Jimmy Lee Lar, the Sock Snob, and I wanted to do a video that shows the complete process of growing these elephant ears from corm all the way to this massive plant. And just as a frame of reference, I'm 6'3", and these plants are almost as tall as I am. And if you see my hand next to it here, you can see just how big the leaves are. So let's show you how I grew these 3 plants. It is time to wake up some elephant ears. So let's talk a little bit about the bulbs or the corms first. So I have 3 different sizes here, and the sizes are based on the circumference. So when you take a look at the elephant ear and you measure around it, you'll get a sense of what the circumference is. So this corm size is a 10-inch. This one comes in at almost 12 inches, almost 19 inches on this guy. So we're going to talk a little bit about the corm itself. So here is the elephant ear corm. You can notice that there is a top. You'll see the rings going around with a little bit of a bud or what looks like a little bullseye at the top. So that's going to be the case with all of these. So take a look at the big one. It is very clear to see what the top is. So you're going to plant this like this. The opposite side is a little bit rougher, and that's where a lot of the roots, old roots that have been cut off are. So it's very bumpy and studded there. So if you can't figure out which side is the top, just plant it sideways. So what I am going to do, I have some potting mix. And I'm just using regular potting mix, not a seed starting mix. And this is one that has moisture control, has some plant food already in it. So I'm not gonna add any at this stage. What I will do, however, when I put it into the ground, I'm gonna add some chicken compost, chicken poo, basically, compost from my yard, along with some plant food. So at that point, I will go ahead and add that. I'm not wearing any gloves because you know what? My manicure isn't for another 2 days, so just run it. All right, so again, I'm getting some soil at the bottom. And basically, I want just about 3 inches worth of soil at the bottom. I think will work just to give this a nice little bed. Sometimes I'm just opening this bag, but sometimes I will pre-moisten this a little bit so that it's easier to work with. So you see how this is all falling apart here. If you wet it a little bit, then that will take care of that problem. So there we have the soil at the bottom. That is enough. So again, I am going to add this with the bullseye portion facing up. So this is just going to go right in here and just sit there. But I'll just fill the rest of this pot up with potting mix, and then we're done. So I'm adding and adding soil, and I will just keep going all the way to the top of this. You want to make sure, especially once you get it to its final spot in your yard, that you want to make sure that it has enough soil above it so that it kind of anchors in there a bit, because obviously elephant ears are like huge wind sails, really. If you don't, what'll happen is as the wind blows, it might blow it right up out of the ground. So you definitely want to make sure that this is well packed in. So I could tilt it over and show you. So that's what it looks like right now. So I'm gonna finish getting some soil on this, and then we're gonna do the same thing with the other 2 and then get some water on it. All right, here we are. So the last thing to do is just get these watered in. Nice, even moisture throughout. These are going to be going directly in front of a vent. and that'll keep it warm and heat up those corms so that they start producing roots. I'm in Green Bay, Zone 5B. We literally had 5 inches of snow yesterday. So this can't be done directly into the yard or into the ground directly at this point. So we have to start this indoors, and it takes a long time. So the sooner you can get this process going, because this will probably not be safe to go into the yard until sometime in May. So this gives me a good 6 to 7 weeks of it being in the house, developing some stems, and then we should be good to get it into the yard. So this is what they look like after about 2.5 weeks. So we see some buds sprouting here. What you'll want to do is wait a little bit longer if you're in a colder climate like mine, but if you're not, you can go ahead and put these in your yard. If you're in zones, 6 or higher, you could probably go ahead and throw these right out into the yard at this point. The biggest one hasn't sprouted a stem just yet, but I see where it's pushing up the dirt, so I know they'll be coming along shortly. You'll also notice that I've underplanted this with some coleus seedlings, and we'll see if those will hold or not. In mid-May, I transferred 2 of them into barrel planters like this and 1 directly into the ground. About a week later, I already had 2 leaves, but I have a rabbit who's eaten all the underplantings that I did, and guess what he also has a taste for? Oh, now he's about to eat my elephant ear. Gotta go. Well, the rabbit crisis was averted, and I was able to get rid of them with some repellents. But you'll notice that they have chewed on some of the leaves there, but they ended up being fine. This is the 10-inch, and this is the 12-inch. By mid-June, they were well on their way, so you'll see several leaves, and they're getting some size on them. It was the same with the one that started as the 12-inch corm as well. Lots of leaves here. What was becoming the real showstopper, though, was the 19-inch corm that was transferred directly into the ground. No pot or planter for this one. It was becoming massive. But really, all 3 of them were getting attention, to the point where people would pull over in their cars when they saw me in the yard to ask about them. It was a joy to grow these, and I hope you enjoyed watching.